There were more genestealers than Seth had ever encountered. The flesh tearers had entered a vast basin large enough to hold a small warship. Genestealers crowded its every surface, the black blue of their hides like a rippling ocean, their eyes stabbing from the darkness like the stars of some terrible sky. Doom. The thought crashed into Seth's mind, staggering him.
It's here. I feel it too.
Corabel tensed, redoubling his mental barriers. Seth felt blood pool in his eyelids as images of his brothers, broken and bloodied, their mouths stretched in agony. Doom. It came again, stronger this time. A feeling, a certainty, meant to crumble the will of those who would stand in defiance of it. Yet as the Brood Lord forced its mind deeper into Seth's consciousness, past all reasoned thought, it met all that was left. Rage.
You will not find our resolve so lacking!
Seth put a round through the nearest genestealer's head by way of emphasis. He saw the Brood Lord then, revealed by a shift in the Xenos' horde. It was monstrous. Even hunched, it towered over the rest of its kin, the way a space marine stood over a man.
You think yourself a monster, fiend? I'll show you, monsters!
Seth detached the homing beacon maglocked to his armor and tossed it into the press of genestealers. The Broodlord vanished, swallowed up by a blur of genestealers. A moment passed. Nothing happened. The Broodlord re-emerged, closer this time. Seth could sense its amusement. Something about the futility of his weapons.
I did not bring weapons.
Seth cast his eyes to the ceiling, to the walls.
I brought monsters.
The walls erupted, punched through by dozens of black-armored assault pods. Thrust on spears of flame, the pods smashed down into the chamber. With every impact, more of the Xenos died, crushed beneath thick ceramite. The assault pods dropped their ramps, crushing more of the aliens. From every side of every pod, the Death Company charged into battle. Caught off guard, the genestealers suffered. The Death Company cut deep into their ranks, hacking them apart with chainsword and powered blade. Polis stood among them, killing with every breath. Despite the murderous berserkers that followed his every cry, he was the fiercest of them all, and Seth was again reminded how thankful he was that the chaplain wore the flesh tearer's symbol on his pauldron. Next to Apollos, the dreadnought, Medrion, tore into the genestealers. Flame burst from beneath his power claws, incinerating swathes of Xenos that broke against his bulk. The venerable warrior machine tore forward, a beast uncaged, finally able to sate a hunger that had been left to starve for centuries.
It dies.
Seth thrust his blade towards the Broodlord.
Nothing else matters. Nothing. Then let us go kill it!
Corabel flanked to the left, his lips trembling as he tapped into the warp.
My father's fate shall not be mine. My father's blood is shield enough. In sacrifice's name, I will endure!
Zazahil planted his feet and prepared to cover their rear. Seth roared and broke forward. Harahel opened fire. The barrel of his assault cannon burned white as rounds poured into the genestealers. Lightning leapt from the librarian's outstretched fingers, spearing through a line of genestealers before arcing into the ones behind. The web of energy continued to spread, claiming one after another. Seth was running flat out, shouldering through the genestealers that survived Harahel and Corabel's wrath. And then the thing was in front of him. It was hunched, coiled and ready to strike. Seth could sense its confidence.
You are not the greater monster here, Xenos.
Seth activated his eviscerator. The Broodlord snarled and leapt at Seth. He met the creature head-on. His blade sparked as it struck the Broodlord's claws. He twisted left as the creature spun around, its claws raking his shoulder guard. He swung out with his blade. It sprung back out of reach and came at him again, eyes slick with malice. Seth fought the urge to step and parry. Speed and reach were the Broodlord's advantages. He braced himself, bringing his blade up in a horizontal block. The Broodlord snatched the weapon with its upper arms. Seth loosened his grip, letting it be pulled away. He hurled himself at the Xenos, wrapping his arms around its midriff and driving it to the ground. The thing rasped in frustration, its lower limbs embracing Seth as they fell. Seth's knife was in his hand before they hit the ground. He drove it into the Broodlord's side, pistoning the blade in and out until it struck bone. He released the knife and threw a punch into the thing's face. Alien bone broke under the ceramite of his gauntlet. He hit it again. His third blow missed as it bucked under him, forcing him to brace out with his hands for balance. Its claws tore into his armor. Without the benefit of momentum, Seth still had moments before the thing drew blood. He twisted, grappling with one of its legs, and snapped it. Seth rolled clear, getting to his feet as the Xenos propped itself up on its lower limbs.
Weakling! Cur!
Seth stomped on an elbow. The Broodlord tried to limp away, to conceal itself in the throng of genestealers. A futile gesture. The Death Company, Harahel, and the others had engaged any that might interfere with the duel. Seth followed, his eyes fixed on the broken Xenos. Fear. It bled from the Broodlord in palpable waves that even a blunt could have felt. The sense of a raw and primal new terror gripping a thing that had never once in its long existence contemplated its own death.
Die.
Seth kicked, and the Broodlord's lower jaw crumbled under the impact. Its movement slowed.
Die now.
Seth kicked again, stamping his boot down on the back of its skull. He stamped again, 3 more times, until he had crushed the creature's brain to pulp. The genestealers wailed in unison.